close UFC fights that are actually going to be so one-sided if or when they happen, guys. You know, my most frustrating thing is like when I know something is going to be very one-sided. Like, I swear, I just know. Like, it's obvious. But you look at other people's responses and they're like, dude, you're casual. Like, they try to gaslight you like your opinion's crazy, but you know what's going to happen. Now, this happened in the past like a lot of times. Like, I remember when Wei Li and Soares were booked to fight, and Soares is a favorite, and I kept seeing people saying, yeah, Soares is going to go in there. And I'm like, bro, what am I missing that... Like, how is this not going to be a one-sided fight? I seen it with, like, MVP Shara. Like, I had no doubt in my head that MVP was going to school Shara, but for some reason, people were like, nah, dude, it's going to be I done it with Khalil Roundtree, Jamal Hill. I was like, guys, I don't know how this is pick 'em odds. It's so easily going to be Khalil Roundtree. And then, like, no one understands what I'm saying until after the fight happens. Like, oh, well, yeah. Oh, well, now that we think about it. So these are fights that have the same vibe to them. Like, it's kind of obvious who's going to win, but maybe people are just riding hype or just being delusional maxing. I don't know, bro. But they keep saying, nah, they try to act like they don't know. They're trying to act like you don't know what you're talking about when you know you do. So let's talk about 5 UFC fights right now that I feel like just give this vibe. Starting off with this first one that's actually booked and going to happen soon. I'm going to make another video on this close to the fight, but Leon Edwards versus Carlos Protes is just not a close fight, is it? It's just not a close fight, but for some reason, people try to act like it's gonna be. I posted a tweet on this, you know, it kind of went viral, and then like the comments are so mixed. Dude, Kenny hates Brazilians. They keep making like a random dude. They're trying to come up with a hypothesis of why I picked Leon. Dude, you never pick against Leon, dude. You're only picking Leon because he's black. You know, the funny shit. I picked Kobe against. Hey, listen, bro. They just started the most random shit just to try to like gaslight themselves that like I'm gonna be wrong because of this. Guys, Edwards is better everywhere. Striking, wrestling, everywhere. Better looking. You know, the hairline, you know. The hairline, I don't know about the hair, but everywhere else, Leon's like so much better than Carlos Protes. But Protes being a low output merchant against people when he doesn't have the significant height or reach advantage is so evident. It's shown in the Ian Gary fight. Now, Ian Gary's a good striker, guys, but we seen Ian Gary like afraid to engage in the striking with like an elite striker like MVP, you know. So I'm not saying Ian Gary's a bad. I know Ian Gary's a good striker, but Protes made Ian Gary look like a world class striker. Even though Gary can strike, he's not as good as Protes made him look on the feet. But why did Gary look like that? Because he's good at using long-range weapons. All right, he's good at using his long-range weapons. And Protes he's so used to being the longer and the taller guy that when he doesn't have that height advantage, he feels like he has to overcompensate and make up from like walking them down but not throwing. He just gets uncomfortable. Protes has had his best fights on shorter opponents who are primary strikers. You know, that's when he's looked the best. Like Jeff Neal, he looked great. He was getting some of his licks in, but his little habit of just shelling up and like backing, he's what I call a give or take fighter. He'll hit you, he'll shell up and like, yeah, dude, now hit me. And he'll just back up and do nothing. He's not even looking to counter. A long-range opponent like Leon Edwards is going to outpoint him comfortably on the feet. This is a 3-round fight. I see a lot of people bringing up the Nate Diaz fight from years ago. Dude, but Nate Diaz rocked him in the 5th round. First of all, this is not a 5-round fight. And yes, Leon Edwards did have a problem with his cardio. Since then, it's kind of looked improved in like his fight against Usman the 3rd time and some other fights, but he doesn't have like a lack of 5th-round cardio as much as he used to, I'd say. But I think he still has it, but this is not a 5-round fight. Oh, surprise. This is a 3-round fight. Leon's not going to fatigue in a 3-round fight. I see Leon, like, of course, winning the 1st round and doing whatever he wants him on the feet. And if Leon wants to wrestle, he took down Kobe. He's took down Usman. He's taken down a lot better wrestlers than Carlos Protes. I'll say you that much. So I don't think he's going to necessarily struggle to take down someone like Protes. And if you find the common occurrence of how you can beat Leon Edwards, all right, you have to have good volume, good forward pressure, and wrestling. Wrestling is really what ties into everything. People are like, dude, but Kenny, Bilal was tagging up Leon, so that means Protes is going to tag up Leon. Bilal was able to tag up Leon not because Bilal's so much of a better striker than Leon Edwards. It's something called the takedown threat. Now, I'm going to look at Carlos Protes' long, lanky, no, like ugly ass and long neck, giraffe having ass, and I'm not going to think he's going to have a takedown threat that you might think he has. Dude, but Kenny, I think in my head he's just like the perfect style to beat Leon. No, we know what style beats Leon. This is not the style. And the fact that Protes striking is still overrated, I'm not saying it's bad. He's a good striker when he can dictate the pace with his size and his length and his height. But when he's like face to face with someone taller than him or the same height as him, he just looks like he freezes up. Gary's not the striker you probably think he is just because of this performance. I'm telling you, put Gary against MVP again, you'll see what happens. I think MVP actually beats him in a rematch. You know, I just don't think Protes is the guy you guys think, especially on the feet. And I'm actually very confused on why other people aren't seeing this. I don't know why you guys think Leon sucks because Sean Brady. Dude, Sean Brady beat him, so that means Protes is going to beat him. Protes and Brady aren't the same. Like, am I missing? Like, please let me know if I'm missing something. This must be something you guys are seeing that I'm not. Like, from what I see, Leon struggles with a specific style. When he goes against that specific style, he loses. Now, you're trying to tell me, but Kenny, Protes is the best at striking. He's just going to outclass Leon. Like, what do you mean? How is Protes supposed to go out there and just put on a masterclass for 3 rounds on the feet against Leon Edwards? As if Leon's some kind of shit striker. Because Bilal and Sean Brady were tagging him up. Bro, first of all, Sean Brady, I'm not going to lie. You guys have to watch back that fight. He was walking into a lot of big counters. But I'll give Brady respect. In his head, it was like, I just need to take a couple punches, maybe give him a lot of volume, and then take him down. Can Sean Brady stand and strike with Leon Edwards for 25 minutes? Mama, that could never happen. That's a 0 chance too. Same with Bilal. Can Bilal just go in there and strike with 25 minutes for Leon? No, he can't. But when the takedown threat's evident and the takedown threat's able to be like you could able to add that into your game, that's when Leon looks upset. Because like what Leon would do, he'll shell up and he'll be like anticipating something, and then you turn into a boxing match and then you wrestle him. That's what makes Leon struggle. Now people are gonna be like, but Protes is gonna walk forward and just strike with him. You can walk forward and just try to strike with Leon and Marauder Maxim. He's gonna put you in a fucking blender. He's gonna masterclass you. Unlike Protes, Leon has some good counterpunching. When you like come forward to Leon, he'll slide out the way and come back with a straight. He'll do that. Protes is the type you pressure him, he just shells up and lets you beat him up. That's why Ian Gary was able to just jump in with some combos, boom, 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 then be out. And then Protes is like, all right, my turn. And Ian Gary's like, nope, boom, 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 I'm out. It's just like Protes is so overrated in the striking. People think it's because I hate Protes. I have nothing against Protes. Yeah, but you put Jeff Neal to blah, blah, blah. I said Jeff Neal was a 50-50 fight, and I stand by that. It still was a 50-50 fight. Protes just happened to catch him. And I knew that Jeff Neal was going to struggle because of reach. Now, I just don't think Leon's a short guy, a small guy that could just be bullied around. I think Leon's more well-rounded. So I literally have no idea why I'm like a casual or like, what, dude, you just don't know what you're talking about. When this fight happens, after I remember when I said Ian Gary was going to school Protes because he's going to be a long-range opponent, and everyone's like, you're fucking casual. It happened, and then they're like, oh, well, Gary is the best. You guys are good. It's going to be the same exact thing here. I actually think Leon Edwards poses more weapons and is more well-rounded than Ian Gary, because I feel like Ian Gary's offensive wrestling isn't the same caliber as Leon Edwards' offensive wrestling, because Leon actually took down good wrestlers. Ian Gary kind of like uses, like, he's good at BJJ. His wrestling offensively is just not that good to me. That's my opinion. So I think this is a very easy fight. I don't think Leon loses a single round. Like, it's not even a close fight. It's just a very one-sided fight. Like, I literally don't get it. But this is the first choice. There's going to be more. So let me just stop getting hung up on this, because I just don't understand how people think this is close in any way, shape, or form. Moving on to the next fight that I think is just not going to be close, but other people think it is. I keep seeing this, and I think it's more because, dude, well, since DDP did it, I think Fluffy and RDR. Okay, let's say this. I think Fluffy might be more interesting than RDR as far as the matchup. Maybe RDR's, I think they're both cake for Hamza, no matter what way you look at it. The grappling just isn't what you think. When I look at Fluffy grappling, he doesn't do anything crazy elaborate. He's not doing some crazy sweeps. He just fundamentally breaks you down with basic fundamentals of wrestling, mixing with his pressure and his endurance. Now, Hamza has endurance. Hamza has just a way better offensive grappling prowess. And I've seen Fluffy get reversed like by Brendan Allen and some of these guys. And I'm not saying Brendan Allen's bad. Like, Brendan Allen's, like, he reminds me of like a Jack Hermanson, someone who's like really good outside the ring. His grappling's really solid. Inside the ring is solid as well. But Hamza, I've seen Hamza actually grapple Jack Hermanson. I've seen Hamza grapple these guys. The grappling difference between Fluffy Hernandez and Hamza Chimaev is almost like me and you. Like, if I ever had to grapple you watching that, I'll fucking put you on the ground in 2 seconds. Like, that's how I see these two, man. I just don't think it's close. And I think Hamza finishes him, because I just have a hard time seeing Fluffy go in there like Dricus Duplessis and be a little bit like, let me just fight to defend and not fight to actually win the scrambles. I think Fluffy's going to try to scramble. He's shown some lazy scrambling against Brendan Allen, someone who knew how to grapple, and he was getting reversed by them. So I just see him against Hamza trying to scramble to his feet, giving up a Darce choke or something. This is not a close fight. I think people are trying to act like this is a close fight, because if they don't act like it, it's going to be kind of obvious that Hamza's just not going to lose anytime soon. So they're kind of, oh, well, since Hamza's not going to lose anytime soon, let's just say Fluffy's the guy to do, or RDR. So I'm not saying people don't believe this opinion. I'm sure there's some people like who are delusional enough to be like, nah, Fluffy's grappling's the same exact thing as Hamza's grappling, when they're vastly different. The skill with it, the strength with it, I don't want to talk about body type, but like, I'm just telling you, when the bodyweight transfer strength comes into play, Hamza's going to be so much stronger. He's going to bully Fluffy. Fluffy's he's a better wrestler than Drickus, but he's not as physically strong. So there's some parts where Drickus used his strength, and his strength showed in some of the scrambles, where I just don't think the strength in Fluffy's end is going to show at all when he goes against Hamza Chimaev. This is easy pick'ems for Hamza, and I'm pretty sure he submits him, because I just don't feel like Fluffy's going to go in there and just try to defend. I think he'll try to get up, try to do something, try to scramble, and that's when Hamza's going to secure the choke. Just like Kevin Holland was trying, man. He was doing all these rolls, and then Hamza was just rolling with him and then floating on top of him, and he got the submission. Because Kevin Holland was actually trying to get up. Drickus wasn't. Like, Drickus was trying to defend. And Fluffy doesn't give me that kind of vibe. Like, yeah, I'm going to try to defend the whole time. You know, I don't know. I'm talking in a Texas accent. But that's what I see this fight going as. I just think Hamza puts the beats on him like Dr. Dre. Easy fight. Next fight that I think is not going to be close. And actually going to be one-sided. This might surprise some people, you know. Joshua Van versus Alexandre Pantoja, guys. I just don't think this fight is going to be close. I seen Van go against that Ray Tsuru guy, the really good Asian. I don't want to say he's Japanese. I think he's Japanese, though. The good Japanese grappler, who's a grappling specialist. So I seen him maul so many people. When he gets them down, he just controls them from a long period of time. He was able to get Van down 4 times, but it was a struggle. All those times he was working for it, he was struggling for it. And Tsuru, he's so good at controlling, but Van has some weird tendency that you can't really hold him down for a long period of time. And this might be a hot take, but these great Japanese grapplers, like these Tsururas and these Tatsuro Tairas and stuff like that, bro, they kind of have similar names. But these guys, I think they're better grapplers than Pantoja. Like, I think their whole life, bro, they've just been dedicated to their grappling, and that's like what they're the best at. Now, I just don't, since I seen Van pass that grappling specialist test, I just have a hard time seeing Pantoja, who went to war with Steve Erceg, because Erceg was hard to hold down, you know, and who went to war with Moreno, who's hard to hold down, and even Roy Val was giving him a run for his money because he's hard to take down. I just have a hard time seeing him do good against Joshua Van, because I feel like Joshua Van's harder to take down and harder to hold down, in addition to the fact he's a better striker than Moreno and Roy Val and Erceg. This is going to be a rude awakening, because I feel like people aren't expecting Joshua Van to win. I feel like people are just thinking this fight's going to go, oh, well, I think Pantoja's going to go in there, take him down, and just fuck him up. That's not happening. I don't know if you guys think Joshua Van's like a walk in the park. Listen, I've doubted Joshua Van. I had times where I thought he wasn't that good, but the more I see him, after the Bruno Silva fight, I was like, hey, this guy is the best in the world. That's what I felt. And that was only Bruno Silva. But then the Roy Val fight did nothing but confirm that for me. I think Joshua Van's the best flyweight in the world. And I know when the fight happens, it's really not even going to be that close of a fight. It's going to kind of be an ass whooping. It's going to come down to how durable Pantoja is. Because I would say I'm worried about Van's cardio over the course of 5 rounds. But he went against Roy Val in a high output 3-round fight. Guys, high output 3-round fights aren't easy to fight at that high level. And Roy Val, who's known for his crazy cardio, actually looked like he was getting more fatigued than Joshua Van in that fight. So, man, I'm going to say Joshua Van is a special flyweight, and he's like 23. He's like my age. The kid's like, dude, he's young. Dude, the kid's like a fucking badass, dude. He's young, you know, a little bit handsome, strong, you know, strong, handsome little flyweight. I think he smirched this guy a potential little bit, you know. And if Pantoja gets done the way I think he's done, I think it's Van by KO or points. We'll see how durable Pantoja is. He has a pretty good chin, but I feel like how sloppy his striking looked against Kai France, even though Kai France just didn't do shit except duck down his head and just wing overhands. I think Van's a lot more calculated than that, and I think he puts the beats on Pantoja like Dr. Dre. And I love Pantoja, great flyweight, probably the flyweight GOAT arguably based off resume, but he's gonna run into a better fighter in Joshua Van. But that's my take. I know that's a hot take, but I really thoroughly believe that. All right, moving on to the next fight. Umar versus Peter Yan. Now, I remember when this fight was like in the works, but then Yan was like, nah, I'd rather fight McGee, dude. And he lost that first round to McGee and then beat up McGee the rounds 2 and 3. Listen, guys, Umar's just too well-rounded for Yan, and Yan has a slow start. Yan's going to get butchered and embarrassed in that first round. And then from there on out, Umar's just not slowing down. There's a misconception that Umar has no cardio and Merab out-cardioed him. Hate to break it to you guys, but please watch back that 5th round. Umar was winning against Merab in a 5th round fight until the last 40 seconds where he gets caught with a punch. So the whole narrative that Umar has bad cardio, I don't really understand where it comes from. Maybe imagination. People just imagine how the 5th round was going, or like, oh, Merab was dominating the whole 5th round. No, Merab did good the last 40 seconds of that 5th round while he was losing that other one, you know. And of course, Yan just got embarrassed. When Yan goes against a grappler / strike, someone who could grapple and just has good endurance, he kind of always looks like this. We've seen Aljo fight, we've seen the Merab fight. Umar is just a better striker than both of them, and he has good grappling as well. I just don't see Yan winning a single round. I actually don't see Yan winning a single minute. I actually don't see Yan winning a single second, you know. Like, I just don't see him having much success. Like, And I look at his boxing, and I'm not saying it's overrated suddenly, but I'm starting to realize this little, let me cover my face. Like, I just think it's a weird defensive style because, like, they just punch your hands and your head goes snapping back. And Umar's a really good striker. Umar's a better, hey, Sheba. I shouldn't say it, I'm not going to say it. It's close. It's close, Umar and Peter Yan striking is close. Not boxing, but overall striking. Matter of fact, Umar's a better striker than Peter Yan. Let me just stop because I don't want to jump the gun. But I'm going to say this. I do think Umar's very underestimated for as far as like his question mark kicks, his push kicks, his spinning kicks. His kicking game's great. He has good 1-2s, good boxing. I just don't see Yan having a fighting chance in this fight. Like this fight, I don't think it'd be legal to watch. It won't be up for more than 24 hours how one-sided it is. And I can see Yan being durable and just getting masterclass, but I could also see Umar beating by KO, TKO, submission, being better looking. He could beat him in a beauty contest. I don't know what Yan could beat Umar in, but not fight game. This is my opinion. So maybe better at, making Russian food. I don't even know. I really think Umar's so much better than Peter Yan. So I always got confused when people were talking about this matchup as if it was close. Like, what do you mean Umar versus Yan? You want to see it? Like, you want to see Yan get his ass whooped? Honestly, I want to see it too because it'd be a great fight that's going to, like, humble a lot of people's opinions. But, yeah, Yan's good, but he's just nowhere near the skill of Umar Nurmagomedov, who I think is the most skilled bantamweight on the planet right now. And last but not least, guys, my MVP versus JDM, the battle of the acronyms. the three-letter acronyms. I think those are what acronyms are. I'm not mistaken. But Shibal. This is a hard fight. This is the hardest stylistic fight for JDM. Hot take. MVP's a harder fight stylistically than Islam Makhachev for JDM. I said it. And you're going to look at me like, dude. Like, what? Dude, I've been watching UFC 40 years, dude. Islam Makhachev. Listen, bro. Styles make fights. And when I say this fight can look like very embarrassing for JDM, like I can see JDM just getting embarrassed on the feet. I can see it. Now, they also have mutual opponents in Kevin Holland. I'm not going to MMA math max here, but of course Kevin Holland's a little bit of a rangy striker who makes it difficult to hit him. Like Kevin Holland was getting tagged up by JDM. On the total strikes, yes, Kevin Holland did outstrike JDM because he's a little bit longer and good at using range. And then he was doing like this weird little shoulder roll thing that JDM started to get a read on as the fight elongated. But what that showed me is that these long limb fighters can sometimes be problematic for JDM to land clean on. That's why he couldn't put Kevin Holland out in that fight. Of course he did good against Randy Brown landing on them, but Randy Brown's so different. Like Kevin Holland and MVP kind of prioritize not getting hit. Randy Brown gets rocked every fight. It's a little bit different, but MVP's way better at not getting hit than Kevin Holland. And yes, Kevin Holland avoided some huge punches, but he was rolling, and Kevin Holland was pretty much rolling with every punch. Like even like you would hit him, he would still roll with it, so it would take a little bit of sting off it. But MVP's not only good at rolling, evading, he's just hard to hit, and he's frustrating to fight. I can really see MVP like beating him every single round. And like JDM being like, fuck, dude, I got fucked up in my best thing. I can see JDM trying to wrestle suddenly. Oh, you're a wrestler now. Cue Nate Diaz's voice because that's what I see happening. And I just see him having a really hard time just trying to wrestle MVP. Because at first, I was thinking that Jared Cannonier fight was going to tell me a lot. And I was like, Cannonier is 100% going to be too strong. He gets him in the clinch, he'll take him down. Strong boy Cannonier, who's fought at heavyweight, has way better offensive wrestling than JDM, keep in mind. When he had these body locks, the way MVP was defending was very impressive. Of course, when Cannonier got him down, MVP said in an interview he could feel that middleweight weight, like how heavy he felt. JDM's just nowhere near as heavy, and he's just not going to get MVP down. I just think this is a very one-sided ass whooping, and JDM is a welterweight champion, but he's the most beatable. You couldn't say this. Like, it's harder to say this if like Bilal was a champion because maybe he'll wrestle, or Usman because maybe he'll wrestle, but like JDM's just the most beatable champ. People think it's hate, and I know they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're just hating on JDM." That's the first thing they're gonna say in the comments because they're not gonna look at this fight with IQ and intelligence. They're gonna look at this fight like, "Well, I like JDM because he's champion, so in my head, I think JDM's gonna school him." But deep down, I think everyone understands that MVP probably cooks him, whether they want to admit it or not. I understand the Aussies are probably gonna be like, that's not how Aussies talk. I don't know, mate. You don't know what you're talking about, mate. I just fought a kangaroo the other day, mate. Yeah. They're going to be really salty. But the truth of the matter is I'm just being very objective here. Thinking about stylistic matchups, I just don't see JDM even landing a single punch on this guy in the first 4 minutes of the fight. Whereas MVP just throwing these low kicks, jumping in. And then JDM's just playing ring around the... I can see JDM even getting frustrated and be like, oh, why are you just doing this? Oh, you're running. I can see him just like taunting and being frustrated. And I can see MVP just hitting him and just doing all this shit. It just would be a very one-sided fight. And I think his nose gets punched in the other way. But That's the end of my video. That's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about these matchups, because I don't know. Because I know I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments. I just know I am. But I'm so confused on how you guys don't see that majority of these matchups are going to likely be one-sided. But let me know what you guys think down below. That's it for me, and God bless. 2, 3.